Hi, thanks for taking a minute to watch this video. I just wanted to spend a few minutes this weekend discussing with you what interest rates are doing and how it affects you and why you probably shouldn't be panicking. For a lot of folks, it's been really hard to buy that home because of the competition. Not only are you competing against other folks just like you who are trying to take advantage of historically low interest rates, but those interest rates were also historically low for hedge fund owners and iBuyers to borrow money against the banks as well. So that meant that you had to compete not only with folks just like yourself, but you had to compete with deep-pocketed hedge fund buyers who don't mind spending a little bit more than what a home is actually worth, and they don't have to go through a financer to get the appraisal and worry about appraisal gaps and all that either. Anyway, they're thinking long game. Like they may own the homes that you're competing with them to purchase for 3 to 5 years, renting it out, making a little bit extra money, knowing that they can sell it at a profit down the road. Whereas you just want to buy a house that is worth what you're paying for it because you're trying to go financing, whether it's VA, whether it's FHA or conventional, and without having to pay a ton in appraisal gap money as well, because you don't want to buy a home for more than what it's actually worth, right? You may be thinking more short term, although you're going to be living in the home long term, whereas those hedge fund buyers, those iBuyers, they're not worried about the negative equity they could be walking into. I'm going to show you, though, why even at the interest rates that we're looking at now, and we're up to, I think, May 5th, we showed 5.84%, the average 30-year mortgage rate. I'm going to show you why we probably don't want to be panicking too much about that, even though we've been looking at rates under 3 for so long in the last, year and a half, 2 years or so. Let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. I want you to see what I'm looking at now, which are interest rates historically. And there we go. So as you can see right now, the average for the year 2022, the annual average is at 4.09%. Right now, again, we're at 5.84%. Look how low that was last year, under 3%, just above 3% in 2020, just below 4% in 2019, 4.5% in 2018. Remember, we're at 5.84 now. Some folks are freaking out about that. If we keep scrolling back historically, okay, so we're still under 4, still under 4. As you go into the early 20-teens, looks like we're just a little above 4. Now we stayed above 4. Over 5% in 2009. Look at that, 6.03 in 2008. Remember the housing bubble and crash in 2007, 2008? 6.34. And when you go back, you see it was a little bit under 6 for much of the early 2000s. Look at there, approaching 7%, up 7.4 in 1999. Again, we're at 5.84% now. When you compare what we're doing right now compared to history. 1998, 6.94%. That's more than a percentage point higher than what it is right now. You go further back, 1997, 7.6%, nearly 8%. No, over 8% in 1994 when it was 8.38. That's not even historically high when we keep going. Look at that, 9.25 in 1991, over 10% in 1990. Well over 10% into the late 1980s. As a matter of fact, look at that, 12.4. Look at that, 13.88% in 1984. 1982, it was over 16%. And we're worried about 5.84% now. I guess my point is, if you're in a situation where you're thinking, maybe I don't want to buy a house because it's too expensive to borrow money to buy a house right now. Historically speaking, no, it's not. If you are thinking about selling and you're worried that there just aren't going to be enough buyers out there because the interest rates are up and it's running off a lot of demand. The demand it's running off doesn't mean you're not going to get multiple offers. You're still going to get offers. In fact, you living in Metro Atlanta have a coveted commodity, a home that is owned. People are scrambling to buy what they can. Rents are crazy right now because folks that have given up on buying are just renting what they can. Demand is high in both cases. And even with an interest rate at 5.84%, it's still historically pretty low when you look back over the last 20 to 30 years. If you have questions or comments, you want to know how this affects your buying strategy or your selling strategy, I'm glad to talk with you about that. Don't hesitate to hit me up.